The Heart Asks began as a series of videos that I made as a way of processing my experiences following Melissa's departure from this earth. And as I made the videos, gradually the story I wanted to tell came forward. And it's a story about the nature of life, how it unfolds, and how human beings interact with each other. And to some people, there is no meaning or order to what happens to us in life. Everything is purely a random coincidence. But when I look back on the last 10 years since I asked the universe for spiritual guidance, and then I look at what followed, the people who came into my life, the messages they delivered to me, the things I was shown again and again, the idea that all of this is purely random coincidence is so implausible to me, and I abandoned the idea a long time ago. And initially I made the film for the benefit of my own understanding, but I was aware that people around me were struggling to relate to my worldview after Melissa had left. And so I decided to share the film, if only to offer an alternative perspective on life and on this idea that we call death. The film essentially tells a story of spiritual awakening, which is the beginning of a journey to explore who and what you are and your reason for being here. And one of the concepts I wanted to get across in the film was the importance of looking inward to reach a deep understanding of yourself and of the drives that you have in your life. And this is important because most of our thinking takes place at the subconscious level, which means that if we're not paying attention to what's going on, many decisions are being made that we're almost unaware of. And this is how conflicts develop within us, where we hold on to harmful patterns of behavior that our mind has decided on our behalf are necessary to keep us away from feelings that have hurt us or disturbed us in our life. And in the film, Martin gives a very good explanation of how the mind tries to protect us by putting these patterns of avoidance in place. But then they become restrictions. They control us, and very often they make us unhappy by preventing us from pursuing what we really want in our life. And for me, the spiritual journey is very much about facing your fears and traveling through them so that they no longer control you. The spiritual journey begins by looking outward as we seek guidance and inspiration from other people, but always the answers are found inside us because it's our journey and no one else's. But I chose to share my story simply to provide an example of how the story can unfold. And it's very common to go through a period of hedonism when we're younger, But then we realise we have other desires which require money, and so we go in search of some sort of career to raise our standard of living. But often we can get caught up in the materialistic side of living without considering how we feel about life. And it can be easy to get into the situation where we respond to negative emotions by attempting to make ourselves feel better with nice food or alcohol or holidays. And so we try to push away our feelings without considering why we feel that way, what's going on in our life. But if we don't look at the problem, then nothing can ever change, and we keep repeating the same experiences over and over again.
You have to get away from what everybody else is saying, including me, from what everybody else is saying, and get down to, where am I? What do I think about this? What do I feel about this? What does it do to me when I feel like this? When I think about doing that, what does it do to me? That's all you have, because it's you, it's your life. Even though we choose to be in relationships with other people, and we have friends, and we have family, and all the other stuff that we try to fit in with, at the end of the day, we're alone. We are. However you want to look at it, we are. We can try to create bonds with people, which we do when we get close relationships. But at the end of the day, you're alone. And all you're left with is, what do I feel about this? What do I judge about this? Do I feel good about me? Do I not feel good about me? What should I do? What do I feel I have to do? It's all of these questions, always about all of everything that you're thinking and doing and feeling and deciding. And that picture is who each of us are at any moment. And we need to come to terms with that it doesn't actually have anything to do with anyone else. It actually has to do with me. What do I think? Do I feel? What do I do? Don't I do? Why do I avoid this? Why do I choose that? It's about that and nothing else.
With my story, I try to show the deep significance of the people who come into our lives, and in general, how life works in a way that supports our development by putting in front of us opportunities to go beyond the things which limit us towards our potential. And no matter how many of these opportunities we miss or ignore, life continues to present them in different ways through our experiences every day. In this way, our heart is constantly encouraging us to become whole, which is really to become our authentic self, not holding back on anything we wish to express or experience in this lifetime. One dynamic in the film is the struggle to turn away from financial security to go towards our dreams. And very often this struggle is dominated by the mind, which has a lot to say about what if. What if it doesn't work? What if we can't pay the mortgage? These all seem to be overriding concerns, and so it's easy for the mind to talk us out of pursuing the path we want to follow in favour of one that seems sensible. But we have inside us a compass which always points towards our life purpose. It doesn't spin around according to fear, and so learning to read this compass is very beneficial. Now, one simple way to tap into what would be good for us to do is to follow our passion, what makes us come alive, what stimulates our creative energy. And this is because passion is the soul's way of signaling this path would be good for you to follow. And so by paying attention to our life experiences and how we feel about them, we can learn to navigate life and create a life which is aligned to the gifts we have inside us. It's just very sad to lose.
Yes.
It's really hard.
Really, really sad, yeah.
It's really hard
And at the same time, the only way that all of you could get the healing that you needed was by this happening. It wasn't possible in another way. This was the only way that it could happen. And so there's something beautiful in it as well, something amazingly beautiful, that everyone is actually going to get the healing that they need from this experience. Like, it's all worth it.
I think that's true of everything that happens in life, even though we don't see it that way. There is something really wonderful and fantastic about it.
We keep thinking that something, oh, well, why couldn't it just be done this way and then we would all get it? But we can't.
No.
It just wasn't possible. There have been opportunities, but you just chose no, you didn't want to go that way. And so therefore that is how it is. It's a choice that we all make, and we need it to be in exactly the right way.
I made this film primarily for myself and for those whose lives were touched by the story, but I share it with a wider audience in the hope that some people will consider what their spiritual journey is. And it's my intention to broaden the definition of what that means. To be in touch with your spirit is simply to have an understanding of what your life is about, what you came here to experience. It's not really about what you believe, or whether you practice meditation, or whether you go to church. Rather, it's about whether you're living a life that has meaning for you or not. And some of us are finding meaning through our work, through raising a family, through helping those in need. All of these are spiritual journeys because each of us is a spiritual being that's looking to explore some aspect of existence in this lifetime. And so the journey is really about letting this story unfold, working through the challenges that come up, and bringing what we have inside us into the world as a unique gift.